Can you talk us?
I can talk a little bit. I might just ask for
Okay.
questions.
Okay.
And then you guys can discuss because I'm a little under the weather. So, all right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Because we're streaming.
Hopefully it won't be too.
Is somebody screaming in the background there?
I'm at Chick-fil-A
Oh my God!
and I'm here
Oh,
with my
that
earphone and
explains a lot.
I am trying to, and it's like around dinner time too, so there are a lot of
Yeah.
people.
All right. Okay, so let's get started.
Yeah.
And that's just the background soundtrack
But I'm here.
to the show.
Yes.
I'm glad that's
Don't
Chick-fil-A and
just
not
don't
your
mind it.
house.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm about like an hour away from my house right now.
Oh wow. First of
Otherwise, it
all,
would have been more quiet.
okay.
So did everybody finish the book? I just realized how long it was. I forgot how long this book is. I read it a year ago. And I forgot, my God, it's long. How did I read all of this?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't finish reading the book. So I just read the summary, chapter summary.
Oh, believe me, I had to go back. I was like, oh shoot, I gotta Wikipedia this. I don't remember. And it's weird. It slowly comes back to you, and it's like a dream, basically. Like when you start remembering a dream, you're like, oh yeah, I went in that direction, didn't it?
Well, before we
Yeah,
start,
we'll get to that.
Everyone, welcome to BTS Book Club. The book this month was book one of, was it 1Q84 by Haruki Murakami. And I'm admin S. With us is admin RG.
Hello.
And today we have some special guests, which is very exciting. So would you like to introduce yourselves?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes, we
hear
can.
you.
Oh, thanks. I was worried.
So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Well, and from the year. And Haruki Murakami is one of the best writers of my 19 years of life.
Hey, Archie, can you mute when you're not talking? Because I can still just hear your background.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's a little quieter. Would you guys like to introduce yourselves? You don't have to use like your name unless you really want to. You can just use like your Twitter ID or a nickname that you have, whatever is most comfortable for you.
You can call me Maxine since you can read it. And it should be easier that way. How should we?
Yeah, so you can just say like a random fact about yourself, and then like what book you would recommend for BTS to read and why.
Okay.
I can go first if you like. So
okay, I feel like I might be the oldest one here. I'm 36. Is anyone else like in their 30s?
Yeah, me. I'm 35 this year.
Okay, awesome.
I'm 33.
Yay!
Okay, good. Never mind. I thought so. I thought it'd be my age group, but like, I was like getting paranoid.
Yeah,
okay.
Age, as my mom says. Age
but also,
is just
I like
number.
Younger people are fine. I'm not ageist or something. But
Am I the youngest here?
Oh, how old are you, Anne?
19.
If you want to, 19?
19.
Oh, you might be.
You might be, but you also might not be.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, it doesn't matter. It's all
Age is
okay.
just
I'll
a
be
number.
60 in my head. We can pretend I'm 60. Okay. A book. I don't know. I don't have one. I would just say like my favorite book, The Bloody Chamber, because I feel like
Ooh,
you can't really do anything until you read that book.
I have not read that book, so I'm doing nothing.
You have done nothing. Oh, yeah. But it's just a retelling. I mean, everyone does it. It's a
Yeah,
imagining of fairy tales,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
one of the earlier ones, and
Mm.
it's influenced a lot of movies, I think, and
Ooh,
stuff. So yeah, go there.
sounds good.
Yeah. Yep.
There's this book I read last month. I forgot the name. Let me search.
Oh, what? Oh, you're
uh,
cutting in and out.
what?
You're cutting in and out. I didn't hear that.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's the problem. Sorry.
No, it's
Oh,
okay.
okay.
I can hear you. Keep going. Keep going.
Let me search the name of the book. I really forgot.
I do that
Um,
too. I forget the names of books. Well, search the book
it's by
name.
Tayeb.
Ooh.
Um, well, what's the name in English? Sorry, I can't
Oh,
find the
don't.
name in
You
English.
can give the name in your language. That's fine.
Um, I'll find it. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, I
If
can.
I was
yeah.
going to recommend a book, I would recommend. Actually, I'd recommend many books because I love to read. Uh, but I would probably
Oh, I found
recommend.
it.
Oh, you found it? Oh, good.
It's Season of Migration to the North. It's a
Ooh.
Sudanese writer,
Mhm.
and it's in the 80s, I think. No, it's in the yeah, it's think in the 80s of the 19th century.
Oh, wow.
And he talks about his life and another man's life and how the Eurocentrism kind of guided their lives.
Yeah.
It's really
Wow.
good.
It sounds like it would be a really interesting one to read.
Yeah.
um, if
Oh, could
I
you write that book maybe in the open forum or something, like
yeah,
the
yeah.
title?
Well, we can
Or would
also
that be
you can
okay?
tweet it. You can requote and tweet.
Oh,
Type it in the main
oh,
forum. You can do all of that. Um, if I was going to um, recommend a book, I'd probably go with my childhood favorite series that I remember when I was a kid, which was it's very old British series by Enid Blyton, uh, the Magic Faraway Tree series, just because it's something fun, something easy to read, but something different happens all the time. But if I was going more serious, I'd probably choose The Book Thief because I love that author and I love that book.
I haven't read it yet, and I don't know why.
It's a really good book. He has another book out, and I actually read the other book first. I can't remember the title. And after that, I read The Book Thief, and then they started to make the movie about it. um, the movie was okay, but obviously I love the book better. Okay. Uh, well, we will keep moving. Otherwise, these tend to be really long. We end up having like an hour or so. So, welcome to everyone, and I'm really grateful you guys could join us today. Okay, so let's start with initial thoughts. What are your initial thoughts about the book? Did you? Yeah. I have to admit, when I started to read this one, I didn't like it as much as Kafka. Um, and it was from the first chapter I really liked, but the second chapter I really struggled with chapter 2 about the book writing.
Actually, it took me to the fifth chapter
Yeah,
to actually like it.
yeah, yeah. I just found the characters I didn't like as much because I kept comparing it in my head to Kafka on the show since we did that last month.
Yeah,
I
it
haven't.
it definitely didn't motivate me to want to read any more of his books. But now I'm curious. Now I'm a little curious though because I'm looking at it like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
because I it it it's so easy to read. It doesn't
Yeah.
talk down to you, but yet it's referencing all these philosophical ideas and just being random and
Hmm.
confusing at times.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
No, I
I
found it the same. I found it um to be a little bit like Murakami definitely has a style that I'm picking up on now, and it's a very unique kind of writing style. Well, he
Yeah,
doesn't write
right.
down to you. Like he doesn't explain everything, so you kind of just come in to the characters' lives, and you're like, wait, what's going on? What's happening?
Mhm.
I don't understand this.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's
like it
not
is.
explained until later. Uh,
Mhm.
so he's not my favorite author, but I'm growing to appreciate him. But I don't think he will ever be my favorite writing style, personally, for me. What about you, RG? Oh,
Oh my God, hold on.
okay. This is
Okay.
real life, people.
Um. Well, first two chapters were okay, but then it started dragging.
Mm, mm,
Uh, yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess reading Kafka first was a good choice, but then because otherwise I would have been like completely turned off by the writing. I
yeah.
mean, it's not bad writing. It's the style of his writing.
Mm, yeah.
But it just I just felt like it was kind of dragging a little bit because there are just too many things to take in.
Mm, mm,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he talks. He writes in a slowly way to
yeah.
take you to the story.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah. And some of his explanations and descriptions are very long. Like when he's talking about like the traffic or when she's climbing down the staircase in chapter 1, I was like, oh, it's a very long climb.
It does, and I'm like, I don't need to see. I don't need to like imagine what's going on around her too much.
Mm,
Just kind of like I want him to get to the point.
yeah, yeah. Having said that, though,
The
I wonder
the
if maybe in Japanese, maybe if it
the story
it's
scene as the
go ahead.
If there's more rhythm to it
Yeah, maybe if
or
it just
something.
makes like more sense in its native language. If maybe in translation it
Well, I
became a
think
bit long-winded. I don't know.
well, like um, I read on Wikipedia
Yeah. No,
that
good for you.
Q, yeah, Q, that Q sounds like the Japanese pronunciation of the of the number 9. So it's kind
Oh.
of
So it's
so it's like it's
1984.
1984, and that's why I picked up this book in the first place.
Mhm.
Um, because I like 1984, and I was just looking
Me
at
too.
book titles, and this said IQ 84, and it's like, okay, I'll read
Yeah, I really like
it.
1984 too.
Yeah,
Well, that
yeah.
makes more sense. Oh, now I get
Yeah,
it. I
so
was wondering why the Q.
yeah. I
Yeah.
was wondering that too, but
Yeah.
the book doesn't explain it to you, I don't think.
No.
Or I can't
No.
remember. I think it's the girl. How do you say
Mhm.
it? Her name? Aomame?
Yeah. Aomame.
Aomame.
Yeah.
Like, she's the one who comes up, calls the parallel universe IQ-84, but I can't
Yeah.
remember that part when she
Yeah.
names it that.
Yeah. I will be honest, when I first saw this and like ages ago when like RM first started to talk about it or first mentioned it, I thought it was like IQ 84, like someone's IQ was 84.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is
Yeah,
maybe
that's what I
strange.
was thinking too.
Okay, let's
And you
keep.
think,
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, no, I was just gonna. No, that was beside this point. So
Oh,
you go
okay.
ahead.
All right. So let's start with the questions. So we've answered this a little bit, but question one: how did you feel about this book? Was it one that you connected with instantly, or did it take time to connect with the story, if at all?
If at all.
Yeah, if at all. Sometimes books just don't connect. You give them chance after chance, and then you're like, no, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
I took
this
time.
book.
Mhm.
Yeah. Actually, I started reading this book 2 years ago, and then I stopped at the
Mhm.
staircase, the stair scene, and I
Yeah.
completely forgot it for 3 years, and I
Mhm.
picked it up in May, and I actually liked it this time.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
But
Sometimes
I
you
think it
just
was
need some
published
time.
in three
Mm.
books. It was published in three books, like over a period of like 2 years or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So you did it correctly. That's why you did.
Yeah. I think trying to tackle all three at once would be very, very tough.
I had a
Mm.
friend who listened to this on tape, and I'm like, "How'd you do
Oh.
that?
Maybe if it was
Did
like
it
a
take 10
dramatic
years?"
reading.
Yeah,
I would have dozed off.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Listen to it in bed and then looking up and it's still going. Yeah. So I'm guessing for a lot of people, it was not one that was easy to connect with at first. Yeah.
I mean,
But
I guess the way it is, it does kind of like give you that sense of like subtle reality shift,
mhm.
like
Mhm.
how slowly that magic eye kind of feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
there but not there kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, um, I know that like other people on Twitter, and I will just quickly look up what some of our friends who are not on Discord with us have said. Um, Sorry.
I love
Okay.
the picture.
Yeah.
Love the picture the questions are on or with. It's so
So
cute.
a BTS fan account, this name is a little long, is soberly drunk TWT, yeah, Twitter, said about this, um, that she or he, I'm not sure if it's a boy or girl, they agreed with like some of the ideas that came up in the novel and could connect with them, like the concepts and themes, but also that they had a very different perspective. Um, because it takes them quite a lot of time to take in books. But this one was more realistic than some other books that they read. They prefer fantasy or historical novels instead of kind of sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with. I'm not much of a sci-fi person myself. Yeah, but
Mm-hmm.
thank you for tweeting in at us. Um, so let's keep moving. Okay, question 2. What was unique about the setting of the book? And did it enhance or detract from the story? And then you can just explain how so.
This organization of the each character, one chapter. At first, I kind of thought it was really, I don't know, kind of disorganized. But when it reached the chapter 9, when our mommy goes to the
Mm.
library to research about that incident, and then
Mm.
the next chapter, the professor Edisonus tells Tango what happened. It
Mm.
blew my mind.
Yeah, he's really
It
good
was
with
when
his
it
twists.
made sense. It was when it started making made sense to me.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. Well, I I don't know. I don't think it detracted from the story. I don't think the setting. I think the setting. I think like it was really interesting for me because it was different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And TGBBJ on Twitter said that it the setting made it feel like a play for them. Like they
Yeah.
were like
Oh,
acting out this play. And I think that's a really interesting like, take on everything.
it's like everything takes. It feels like everything takes place in small, tight,
Mm,
controlled
mm, mm.
environments, like mostly apartments, and
Yeah.
they're all so precise in everything that they do.
Uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
and that's, I guess that's more of a that feels like sort of a commentary on
Mm.
post-industrial or not post-industrial, but industrial society
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
just modern society, and that kind of Kafka quality with that kind of depression from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and of course, it being Japanese is why
Yeah.
again found it interesting because I was just like, well, okay, what's in the headspace of a Japanese person?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
I think that does um that would be the appeal, I guess.
Mm,
So
mm.
so I have to come at it not from, oh, this is what I experienced, but more like, well, how is this like my experience and how is it different?
Yeah.
So
Mm. Awake Alien on Twitter said that the two moons were one of the many iconic setting elements that she appreciated when the setting was created. And true to
mhm.
Murakami style,
Another
he
thing that blew
was.
my mind
Yeah, yeah.
was when Tango started writing his book,
Mm.
and he said that in this world it had two moons, and I don't know
Mm.
which chapter after. Our mommy actually sees the two moons and was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. And she said that it's true to Murakami's style. He can weave. She liked it because he can weave like the real world setting to something straight out of your imagination. Um, but he also can write so that that's like quite smooth. But then at times he does it so it's going from one world to the other is very jarring as well. So yeah, he he is a talented writer, and the setting
Like,
was very unique.
oh yeah,
I
it's
guess
kind of
it's
like,
like just getting used to like reading or being in two worlds at the
Mm.
same time.
mhm.
Just yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'm not used to that.
No, it's like Outland. I don't know if any of you have read or watched Outlander.
Yeah, I've
But
watched it.
yeah, but it's kind of like that, but on the next level.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because we understand time travel so
Yeah,
much
yeah, time
better
travel,
than
but now
just
it's just between
a
worlds.
random place with two moons.
Yeah.
And now I can see like why, you know, like the background story of all the music videos of BTS, maybe because of this two worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think
Ooh.
this. I mean, like
Oh.
we can have a theory. There's a theory time at the end, but I think watching the DNA music video now makes a little more sense. Um.
I rather thought maybe
Yeah.
BTS lives in that second moon.
Yeah.
Oh, were there two moons in that video?
I don't know if there were. Maybe when V is like upside down.
Ooh.
I can't remember. Okay, question 3. How did the setting, location, time period, or both of the book impact on the story?
I think Murakami was actually a genius because
Mm,
the book is 1984 and it's
mm,
at the time of the Cold War,
mm,
and there's that security guard of that old lady,
mm,
and he talks about how his life. What?
mm. Yeah.
He talks about how his life has changed with the Korean War, the Japanese War,
Mm.
and how his life, I don't know, just went by.
Yeah, yeah.
It's actually really good to see how he actually used history to create the characters.
Mm. Wow. That's. I didn't actually know that. Hmm. Wow. um, I think.
Oh, see, that's the part I completely forgot about is the characters.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Maxie.
mm, no, I guess that's another interesting, as you pointed out, like
Mm,
just how it's so grounded in um real life, like facts and history.
mm.
This book is, and then just to
Yeah.
slightly just go off the rails from it.
Well, I don't. I think like also the time period. Like I think like 1984. I feel like Murakami gets inspired by other authors a lot. Um, and I feel like with this one, like if you've read the other like the book 1984, um, like you can see I don't know that maybe he was influenced or like something in that book like struck him, and maybe like the time period that he chose to set it in was also kind of like um just a small nod to the other book 1984, um because in Kafka on the Shore, like Kafka Franz Kafka inspired him with that one. Um, and so I feel like, yeah, 1984 inspired him for this one in some kind of way. But Awake Eileen also said that she felt the setting was the star of the show. It was what kept her wanting to read, and that the characters were more of a backseat role for her. Yeah, so she felt like with the setting and the way it was written, she felt more a part of that world than connected to the characters. And I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, okay, so let's look at question 4, which says, what themes did the author emphasize throughout the book? Um, anyone
I
have
think
any
it was
ideas?
great
Mm.
when Murakami wrote Ayumi,
Mm-hmm.
that love friend, yeah, and how she wanted to be great, work and
Mm-hmm.
have her own life just like your mommy.
Yeah.
But I think through the whole story, he writes a lot about the woman, how woman the women's of the story, the women of the
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
story are like, I don't know how to explain.
It's okay. You're doing a great job. um.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. um. English is hard, even for English speakers. Um. I think a lot of the themes are kind of like self discovery, like um, and um, other people on Twitter have been saying the same thing. Um, like, where do I belong? Like, who, like, who actually am I, and where do I fit in this world, or in the world that Murakami created?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was,
totally.
I was actually surprised that it ended with them like reconnecting.
Mm.
It felt like such kind of a slow, sad burn
Yeah.
that like in the end, like,
Mm.
the meaning is their relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Mm. Yeah, I think I think also like the historical, like how we mentioned before, like the Cold War, the Korean War, the like all these different wars, and that's where like he pulls his characters from. I feel like kind of like like after those events happen, like people have to like figure out like how to go about life again um, during like more settled times because everyone's like the world kind of like repositioned itself in a way, and I think he
yeah.
kind of explores that a bit, like when something like really dramatic happens, you have to figure out again like
Who
who
you
you
are.
are, yeah, and how you fit into the
Mhm.
like with this new understanding of things.
Hmm.
So yeah.
And what the world is. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I guess whoever wins gets to define the
Mm.
history too,
Yeah.
in a
Yeah.
sense. That kind of idea.
Yeah.
And how he writes about abusive relationships,
Mm.
like that friend of our mommy, Tamaki Otsuka. I don't know how to say. I
No,
don't.
that's a good job.
And I don't know how he writes about problems that the women have.
Mm.
Uh, I don't know the way society looks at women
Yeah.
Mhm.
at these contexts.
Yeah. Mm. That's a good point. Um, And I feel like that kind of thing is really relevant these days still, because like abusive relationships obviously still happen. Um, and not even abusive relationships, but just like violence um,
Yeah.
against like women. Like it's still really like it's prevalent all over the world. It happens a lot. Um, and the way people talk about it and the way people think about it really makes me sad. Um, because when a woman or a girl, like when she's attacked or something happens to her, the focus is always on her. But like when it
Mhm.
happens when a guy is attacked by another guy, it's always about the attacker, like what a coward he is or something like that. But when it's a woman, it's always like, oh well, what was she wearing? What was she doing? How was she
Mhm.
being? Which I think is really
Yeah.
hypocritical.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, like if a guy gets attacked, they don't admit it.
Yeah,
Is the thing.
yeah,
You
true.
can't admit that you were ever the victim to someone else.
Yeah,
And that's just hurts your pride too much, and that's a problem as well.
it
Because
is. It is.
yeah, if we want to
Yeah.
get political.
We don't really want to get
Yeah.
political. Politics isn't everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at question 5. Who was your favorite character in the novel? What drew you to that character? Who was your least favorite character, and what made it difficult for you to like them? Um,
Made it difficult.
I honestly found it really hard to connect to any of the characters, really. Um, and I think part of it was because we went straight from Kafka to this one. So, and I really liked a lot of the characters in Kafka. Um, I really found it very easy to connect with them. Um, so then when we jumped to this one, I don't know what I was expecting, but probably similar kind of more easy to relate to characters, and I just found it really hard to relate to these characters. So I don't really have a favorite, to be honest.
I do.
Okay.
Well, just like right from the beginning,
Mm.
when a woman goes to kill that man, I was like, "What? I can't believe she actually is a serial killer or something like
Yeah.
this."
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so banal. It's just and she doesn't she do that little like spike in the back of the neck that nobody
Yeah.
can detect.
Mm.
Or am I
Yeah.
mixing up my books here? Okay, all right. Good. Yeah, I kind of like Emma Mame because she's a very precise,
Mm.
purpose-driven person. It might be
Uh.
a small kind of specific purpose at every turn,
Yeah.
but I find that kind of respectable. It might be two-dimensional,
Mm.
but I wonder if it makes her kind of two-dimensional as a
Yeah.
person. But
And I think that's why I struggled, because I found a lot like the main characters. I found them very kind of two dimensional, especially at the start. I
hmm
was just like, oh,
hmm
because I was just
yeah,
like, oh,
Tango's
she's
very
yeah,
passive. He's very
he is.
passive, and
And I
life's
found
kind of happening to him.
his chapters at the beginning. I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in a work meeting that I really don't want to be in. Um,
I do like Awamami because
yeah.
of it reminds me of Kill Bill.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
yeah.
So as soon as her like story unfolded of how she killed the man in the hotel, I'm like, oh, okay. There's hope in this book.
You're like, yes,
Yeah,
action.
Yes,
finally.
Hmm.
but my least favorite will be Tango because I just think I don't know. He's like kind of like a pushover kind of person,
Mm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
and yeah, it's kind of boring too. So
yeah.
Yeah, his story was for me was like a drag. I kept looking forward to our mommy's story than
Yeah,
his.
yeah.
And even like they even with when it progresses to like meeting up with what's her name, Okaeri.
Y- okay, Aaron? Yeah,
Yeah. So yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, TGBBJ on Twitter said that Aomame was probably their least favorite because even though her personality was cool, things at the beginning kept bothering TGBBJ because she's like, why didn't she use her own stuff to clean the fingerprint? Why did she use that towel? Like things like that just bugged, which is really annoying. Um, and Awake Alien's favorite character was actually the settings over the characters. She preferred the settings to the characters themselves. So, yeah. It's very interesting how people interpret books. Okay. Um, Question 6. How do the characters change and evolve through the novel? What triggers these changes?
That's a tough question.
Mm. Well, I guess because we've also read like book 1, but we still have book 2 and book 3. So there will be more to come. um, hmm, I
It's
think,
subtle, isn't
yeah,
it?
it is. It is really subtle. Like, there's no like huge event that alters them. Um,
Hmm.
I
um,
think it's
I'll keep going.
Maybe that's. Do you think they didn't? The things
Yeah.
kept happening to them, but they didn't really develop people.
No, and I
Like
think,
events happen.
yeah, and I think that's what made them really. They kind of disconnected from me because I'm like, wow, they're pretty. Like, wow, I would be probably really changed by things like this. but,
yeah.
um, but at the same time, it does give them that kind of like not not like the less than human, but kind of like they have, like how people who have like autism or something like that, they see the world really differently. So they don't necessarily react the same way people without that, um, without autism or even thing, like so.
Well,
Yeah, I don't
it's
know.
like they don't express emotions very
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
or yeah, they don't. They don't. We kind of do it. Most of us
yeah,
do it. Just it's an instinct, and we. But I
mm,
think with autism,
yeah.
on this wherever you're,
On the
depending on where you
spectrum,
are on
yeah,
the spectrum,
yeah.
it's just
I mean,
that instinct isn't there, so you have to learn other ways to get around and to
yeah,
function in
yeah,
society
exactly.
because it's important to
Yeah,
communicate emotions
yeah, and
and
I
signal emotions.
and I mean, I've worked with a number of children who are autistic on various levels on the spectrum. Um,
Mhm.
it is really interesting to see how the way their mind works completely changes how they interpret everything. Um,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
and it's fascinating. And I just felt thinking in those
that's
terms was
true. Like
kind of the only way I could really connect with the characters. So
that's interesting.
yeah, yeah, just because
Tangled.
that lack of that coolness, just that complete, yeah, coolness all the time.
Mhm.
Mm.
Tangled seriously made me annoyed. Like through the first book, he keeps just writing and reading,
Mhm.
and the second book as well. And then there are some things that happen to him, and he keeps that simple mind. And I keep, why are you so simply? Like this, the change of the world. Why don't you? Say something, do something, think about
Yeah.
something. No.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be really frustrating. You're like, oh, what are you doing? Why aren't you doing something? Like, snap
He
out
is
of it.
very
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I found like the most exciting chapter for me for Tango was like the chapter when he meets the girl, the one who wrote the story.
Mhm.
Um, and that was weird in itself, but like I was like, oh wow, he actually seems quite intrigued by this, and then that was kind of it. Anyway.
I feel like he's your ultimate nerd when you meet him in person.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh.
yeah, yeah. And I
Like,
don't. But here's
I
what I.
don't know how to strike a conversation with you.
But I
Yeah.
don't understand. Like, you know how it mentions that he's actually like quite popular in his job. The way that he's written
Mhm.
makes it really hard for me to understand how on earth he would ever be popular. Just because he
Yeah.
doesn't seem to have that personality that
Kind of for
tries.
real.
Yeah. I'm
Or is
like,
he
really?
or like he looks good on paper, tests well. I think he was good at sports
Mm. Yeah.
at some point. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe,
Yeah.
but
I
then
just had
it
it just doesn't read like, oh, that seems unlikely. That's how it just came across to me. Like, really? Okay. Maybe you have to be into math. And I'm not. Okay. Question 7. How has the author used elements of mystery in the novel? What moments did you find most surprising in the story so far? Um, I found the fact that Aomame was like a killer very surprising.
Yeah.
Especially the way she's introduced in the story. Very like, oh my gosh. I thought she had like a meeting. Like when it mentioned like she had like a meeting or something, I thought it was like a sit down discussion kind of meeting. So then I was really shocked to find out, oh no, it's killing somebody. Okay. I was not
like he
expecting that
would.
at all.
Mine will be the story of the little people.
uh,
Hmm.
I
yeah.
feel like, and yeah, it would make me want to read the entire book, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like there's more mystery there than because I feel like when he put out our mommy's story,
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad that he did it like early on in
Yeah.
the book than like
Yeah.
finding out what is she like towards the end.
Mm. Yeah. Um, Awake Aileen.
Well, yeah, they're also kind of the little people are
Yeah.
passive and oh, like you mentioned autism, and that's
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
what they are. They don't. I think I read at some point like they don't use expressions unless they need to, and
Yeah,
they just
yeah.
efficiently do their job. They take no more or no less time to do what
You,
they're there to do, and then they go back
you know what it
to where
seems to
they
me?
came from.
I just thought of the word, and it has nothing to do with autism. Robotic. It seemed like a lot of
Oh,
characters
like
were
yeah.
very robotic. They were just like, do this and done. Do what I'm programmed to do, and then I stop.
Yeah. And that's what I wish I could do that.
Sometimes
Okay,
me
I have a
too.
task to fulfill. Can't we just do it?
Yeah,
And
don't get
then,
distracted.
you know, yeah. Then I
Yeah.
can wake up afterwards and have a life. Yeah.
Mm. Um.
Actually, the little people
Mm.
were something that made me scared.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
currently reading the second book, and there's
Yeah.
this scene that actually made me really scared of them.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I kind of want to know what it is, but I'm worried I'll be scared
Just
too.
them coming out of like coming out of a
Yeah.
mouth. That freaks me out.
Yeah.
That is
That's a little
really
freaky.
real. That's very freaky. I don't want any little people coming out of my mouth. Thank you very much. um,
I already find like gnomes weird, and then I just picture little people like that. So now I can't look at gnomes anymore
well, there go the garden gnomes.
without thinking of little people.
If the garden gnomes in your neighborhood go missing, we know who's to blame. um, Awake Aileen said that for her, the mystery was things like the unanswered questions she had from the book. Like, are they living in parallel worlds? Are they living in the book, or is real life reflecting what's in the book? Why do some people see two moons and other people don't? And they like those questions until she got her answers. They like plagued her. She like had to keep reading to find out, well, what is happening? What is going on? What's the situation? And I guess in that sense, Murakami was really smart because people do keep reading if they want answers to something, or else they flip and try to find the pages without reading. But people should not do that. I don't condone that. I think he uses mystery in quite a subtle way too. Like, it's not kind of like, you wouldn't class his books as mystery novels, but he puts in just enough to be like, oh, keep turning the page. You have to like find out what's happening. And I think it's a really subtle mystery and a really clever way to write.
Yeah, it's a construction.
Okay, question 8. In what ways do events in the book reveal the author's own worldview about destiny versus free will? I feel like Murakami's books, well, the two that I've read, they both kind of show like, well, with Kafka, it was definitely like a destiny, like you can't escape your destiny.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of his worldview. Like I feel like he believes in destiny. Yeah, that people do what they have to do,
Yeah.
and you can't really escape that.
But it's like in a naturalistic sense, like
Yeah.
you're just observing yourself kind of way.
That is so true. That is so true.
But,
yeah.
I think the perfect example for that is Awamamis thing where she's an assassin and
Oh yeah.
like, I don't know, part-time assassin. Like in a way, she's know that she's destined. Like how do you do it? Like in a way, she's destined to be that way, I guess. But she can also have a free will to like to stop what she's doing.
Yeah.
You,
Yeah.
you kind of get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah. So she's
like yeah, she's killing bad guys, but it's also up to her. Like I guess like they're destined, to be doomed anyway. But
yeah.
it's also her free will to drive them into their death. To
So
something.
Yeah,
even
like
though like it's
they
her
do have a
destiny.
destiny,
Yeah.
but they can make decisions.
Yeah. So like even though like that's her destiny, kind of like it's what she would choose to do anyway. So if she had free will, she'd probably do the same thing. I think it's interesting. Destiny versus free will. Or does she just feel
It's
like
muddy.
she has free will, but it's actually her destiny? Who knows?
It's philosophical.
It is very philosophical. Questions upon questions. Question 9. How did the setting... Ooh, no, that's not question 9. Okay.
We're very
Yeah. So, let me find... Okay. All right. Question 9.
Was that a repeat
Well,
question?
it
Yeah. I feel
was
like
a repeat question. I was gonna read it, but like it was not a repeat question when I looked at this before, so I'm not sure what's happened. But it's okay. I can just look up the question. So question 9 it is. Oh, it is a repeat question. Apologies. Let's move to question 10. Skip question 9. Question 10. Uh, which quote from book 1 is the most memorable for you? And explain why it holds meaning for you.
I had it highlighted on my book, and I don't have my book right
Um,
now, so I will post it when I get home.
okay.
yeah, I don't actually have a quote that's really all that memorable for me, to be honest. And I think it was because I did struggle with book 1 for most of it, so I actually don't have one.
There's this whole page actually in which our mommy says that she's just average person. She
Mm-hmm.
likes to read, and
Uh,
I like it how the that old lady kept saying like humans don't change,
mm,
history keeps repeating itself,
mm.
and it's philosophical.
It's that's
So what page is that? Do you remember?
Well, I think in the English version it's on page 263.
Thank you.
It's the seventh chapter.
Okay.
Seventh.
I don't know. Mm. The 7th chapter? All right. No, that's way farther for my book. Oh well. Never mind.
yeah, book
It
the
Yeah.
was a
different
Sorry.
rough
versions.
translation I did.
Oh, okay.
Mm. I like
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Maxie.
Oh no. I was just gonna say I don't have one. So
You don't have any that, yeah. Yeah.
I don't have a quote of my own. So
It's
sorry.
No,
okay.
some books are more quotable than others. um, but
Yeah.
I do like that point. Like history keeps repeating. People keep making the same mistakes and doing the same things over and over. Like it's actually really thought provoking because it's true. Humanity does
Yeah.
not seem to learn from its mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
but which is really sad. Which is really sad. um,
Political
yeah.
decisions are an example.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, if anybody out there does have a favorite quote, you can leave it on our Twitter or post it somewhere and tag us, tag BTS Book Club. Um, and if you don't like us, that's fine too. So, question 11. If you had to choose one lesson that you believe the author would want us to take away from this story, what would it be? Um, I don't know if Murakami writes to give lessons. But then book 1 is technically, yeah, it's not complete yet. So, um, maybe.
Oh, so are we just doing book one of this book, or
This was
wait?
we
I'm
were
confused.
only reading book one this month, but a lot of people have read the whole book. And if you've read the whole
Oh,
book,
okay.
you can
Okay.
discuss. You can discuss. Because a lot of us just didn't have time in 1 month to read all
Oh
three
yeah,
of them.
no. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
sorry.
I'm don't have to apologize. I'm an English teacher, so
Mhm.
I had no time
No,
to read all three books in 1 month. I was like, I
no.
wish I had
That
the
makes
time.
I have two kids, so
It's like teaching a whole class.
sense.
um,
there are less people now here.
I don't know if
I think
yeah, I
one
would say that
lesson.
he would have one lesson, but I haven't read all three, so I don't know. Maybe if you've read all three, maybe you can see
Yeah,
like maybe
so
there's
that's
something.
why I don't want to. I don't know.
No, you can't. You
Can I
can.
say it?
You can say because the
I
thing
just,
is, we're not sure
I
if we're
feel
gonna
it.
do book two next, or if we're
I,
gonna see if people want to go straight on to book two, or if they want to
Yeah.
read a different author. So you can go for it.
yeah.
If we can
I
just
mean,
say
maybe
spoilers,
this is
block
what
your
I
ears if
want
you
to
don't want to
read
hear it.
into it. If I want to read to it, but it seems like, I, I mean, it seems like it's strange to me. It's hopeful, but it's probably just banal
Mhm.
to the author. But it's like how like meanings really just created between people,
Mm,
individuals,
yeah.
um, from person to person, and
Oh,
I think that's the most. It's the strongest thing and the most constant thing. Only is the connection between a person and another person,
yeah.
and maybe the more logically consistent. Well, maybe not logically, but it's like it's how they kind of converge the world
Mhm.
is with each
Ooh.
Tango and Amamami. So I don't know. I kind of
Huh.
like that. That's a little
Yeah,
hopeful to me.
I like that too.
Um, and especially since and this book is takes place in a post-war Japan.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's and and especially since Japan had to
Mm.
really quickly rebuild its economy and its sense of
Yeah.
identity and who they are and
Yeah.
all that. Oh, where am I going with this?
It's okay.
I'm like trying to think,
Don't-
where am I going with
You
this?
fit in with us so
It
well
was almost
because we
there.
often do things like that as
Yeah,
admins.
yeah.
Like, hang on,
But
I'm not sure where my end point is.
well, I think it creates
Yeah.
like a sort of sadness in their
Yeah. Yeah.
lives and and
True.
just a disconnect and
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's just so much alienation in the book, just so much loneliness.
Mhm.
And
I actually feel like now that you're saying this, like I feel like Murakami writes a lot about loneliness, a lot
mhm,
about lonely because Kafka was about being lonely too. Like there was just
mhm.
um, and maybe
But
like
lonely and also
yeah,
having to be financially responsible,
yes,
like for your like
yeah,
the loneliness of having or like that or what is it? What's that pyramid where the top of it is self-actualization, but the bottom is like food and shelter? And
oh,
like I feel like the characters in this book
yeah,
are
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
just not quite reaching the self-actualization the
Mm,
way they want to.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think like um like war is also something that runs through it seems to run through well the two books we've read so far. It's played a big part in both of them. Um, like with Kafka, like the Second World War, um, and it feels like I don't know, but from Murakami, like whatever, like he lived through himself, like war has played a big part of it. Um, yeah, and maybe it is like a Japanese society thing because they've been involved in so many wars, and it has
And
definitely like impacted
and
their
it's affected
society and
it's
culture.
it's
Yeah.
affected yeah, they I mean the war happened somewhat on their land and
Yeah.
They got hit by 2 atomic bombs.
Yeah.
And, I'm an American,
Mm.
and, like, we got Pearl Harbor was bombed, but
Yeah.
we didn't lose our homes. We didn't
Yeah.
see land just get,
Mm.
destroyed. Like, we were pretty, otherwise, other than Pearl Harbor, we were pretty well protected.
Yeah. Same
So
with
all we
same.
lost were people.
Yeah. Yeah. Same with Australia. Japan bombed Darwin, the north of Australia, but that was it. That was it. But I mean, same people, which
Yeah,
of course is
people
a huge
disappeared.
loss. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like yeah, and I think because Japan's
But we
been
didn't.
on the losing side of
Hmm.
war repeatedly,
That's a big blow.
it's a huge economical blow, and also like
Hmm.
pride too, because they're a very proud people in their culture, their heritage, and things like that. Like honor, not so much pride, but honor. Um,
Hmm. And
so yeah.
it's about the or
Mm.
or it's about the group more
Yeah,
than the
exactly.
individual.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes these books so interesting because suddenly it's like you're looking at like these very individual characters who don't feel like they're part of the group. It kind of it's really strange.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a sad individuality.
It is. It is. I'd be really interested to see like what like someone who comes from a Japanese background thinks of his
Hmm.
books. And how much it would differ
Yeah.
from our opinions. Um, Question 12. What moral, ethical decisions did characters have to make in the novel? What did you think of their choices? What choices would you have made? Well, I think the obvious one is murder.
Yeah, we would all murder.
Yeah.
I think that.
Definitely with an
and
ice
not
pick
and
or
not leave
something.
a trace. Yeah, that's the
Yes.
best way.
Yes.
And
That is definitely the moral, ethical question that comes up
Oh,
yeah.
ethical.
immediately with Eomame. Like, is that the best way to rid the world of bad guys or not?
Oh,
I
it's
mean, yeah.
maybe not the most. It's not. It's not going to get rid of all of them.
No. True. True.
It's
I'm
efficient, but not on a
Yeah.
small scale. Only on a
But
small
it is
scale.
interesting because I mean, like, some places have the death penalty